NEWSFASH. Welcome to the NEWSFASH Weekly. It was an insanely eventful week in the world of fashion. Here's everything you need to know now. This just in, Versace designer Dario Vitale is out after just one season. His dismissal comes just days after the 1.25 billion USD deal closed, with Prada fully acquiring Versace. And though reviews to Vitale's debut collection for Versace were mixed, this news does come as a surprise, especially considering that the designer spent 14 years at Miu Miu prior, another Prada-owned brand, of course. And while I know that many fashion industry folks felt that his work at Versace was just the right amount of fun, irreverent, campy, fresh approach that Versace needed now, it was unclear if that same kind of aesthetic would resonate with consumers who are more used to their literal glamazon, in-your-face va-va-voom of Versace, established, of course, by his predecessor, Donatella Versace. Leaving us with two burning questions. One, Vitale clearly has chops. Which house will he chop up next? And two, who will replace him at Versace? This person will need both Prada board and family approval, although the jury's out if Donatella herself will be consulted on the hire. After all, she didn't attend Vitale's debut show. We'll keep following this developing story. Meanwhile, Demna just dropped his second Gucci tease of a collection for Resort as we await his hotly anticipated grand full-scale debut come the new year. Dubbed Generation Gucci, but don't worry if your invite got lost in the mail. For this one in particular, Demna actually staged an imaginary fashion show with him photographing each look himself. I think this is really interesting to see how the fashion is really viewed through the designer's own lens, with him speaking of the theme of this collection centering around this idea of FOMO and designs that trigger desire, which is really something the Kering Group needs right now. And he did so not only by referencing beloved Tom Ford sizzling isms, but also the Italian glamorous femininity of Frida Giannini from the more recent past, who hasn't been as referenced of late. But also this collection served as a way for Demna to upgrade his own wardrobe now that he's taken the helm at Gucci, with him producing a small bag that just is meant to fit a wallet and a phone, and a racer jacket, which is an iteration on something he pulled from the archives purely to satisfy his own wardrobe needs. I mean, wouldn't you do this if you were a designer as well? And that approach in itself feels very Tom Ford to me, really dressing the part, becoming the brand. We're also getting a much better sense of what his whole thesis is for Gucci, which is really about a more bodycon silhouette, and in typical Demna fashion, reconsidering tropes that feel dated or in poor taste. In this particular collection, he focused a lot on the V-neck, saying he felt that was particularly Gucci. The talk of the town this week has certainly been Chanel's takeover of the New York subway for their Métiers des Arts collection. And for designer Mathieu Blazy's second kick at the can for Chanel, it was all about broken suiting and rebuilding brand archetypes via Art Deco evening wear fit for society swans, uptown or down, and an irreverent mix of suiting and sportswear that really encapsulated that mood that New Yorkers have to embody on the daily basis, where they look like they could be going anywhere and everywhere all at once. That's just what life in the city entails. And if you're able to do so with a Chanel animal bag on your shoulder, why not? Back in London, the Fashion Awards were also this week, hosted by Coleman Domingo. And I have to say, while Jonathan Anderson won big, the real winners of the night were all the incredible female designers on display. From Phoeben, who dressed Ashley Graham, Sarah Burton for Givenchy, who was also honored and dressed a slew of guests, including Cate Blanchett. Ooh, and Sienna Miller, that was one of the standout looks. Chloe's Chimina Kamale dressing Alexa Chung. Pink Panthers in Chapova Loena. But the NEWSFASH best look of the night had to be Model of the Year recipient Anok Yai in Dolaria Fitokoglu. Although, in other news, I was quite disappointed to see an expose that ran in Fashionista addressing the culture of exploitation and toxicity within Dolaria's studio in London, where past employees and interns have gone on the record saying that they were mistreated. And that, Miss Fitokoglu, is not a good look, and that kind of behavior always catches up with you. And lastly, in good old collab news, we got Moon Juice and Jacquemus. Ganni and Barber, yet again, why not? Stella McCartney and H&M. I thought we just had an H&M collab with Glenn Martens, but there's another one right around the corner. Booming Canadian luggage brand Monos is collaborating with Simon Miller on a new line of travel essentials. I might need to try this because I recently had quite a debacle with my not trusty Rimowa, the opposite of trusty. If Rimowa has 0 haters, I am dead. Because their luggage breaks again and again and their customer service is just dreadful. But to end on a happy note, not dreadful is Louis Vuitton's new collab with your dog. They have a new line catered towards your canine best friends, and it's starring that very handsome Callum Turner guy. And I've been saying this for a while now. Like when I got a puppy this summer, I'm like, why aren't brands beyond just making dog collars or little things like that? My Dottie, she wears Prada bows. She also wears Hermes scarves. But when I first got her, I was carrying her around before she got too big in this Jacquemus, like my travel bag. And I was like, why doesn't Jacquemus and all the other brands make these bags in a variety of sizes that look like beautiful carrier bags or handbags, but where you can carry your dog and their essentials, or your cat, no judgment here, or your emotional support, pig or whatever, maybe even bird cages actually, because I was recently in Doha and I noticed a lot of people have their emotional support birds that they take with them places too. So I feel like there's a whole category here that brands maybe need to get a little bit more wise to. Hermes has got the horses covered. You can go in there and there's a whole section just for all your equine pursuits, but I really feel we could beef it up when it comes to our other animal friends, cows included. Imagine a Chanel or Gucci cowbell. That'd be chic. Okay, I gotta go. That wraps your NEWSFASH Weekly. I'm Moshe Lundstrom, and be sure to stick with me to stay up to date on all things fashion.